Welcome back to another episode of the Simone NBA Show. I'm your host, Jack Simone. You can find me on Twitter at Jack Simone NBA. You can follow Heavy on Twitter at Heavy on Sports, and you can find all of their other links next to my face on YouTube, which you should be subscribed to if you haven't heard me say that a million times by now. Check out Heavy on YouTube. You can find all these cool interviews, including the one I did last week with Muggsy Bogues, former NBA player. That was a blast. I appreciate the support you guys showed on that. But this week, you're stuck with me. It's just me this week. We're talking NBA. The season is almost here. This will probably be the last episode of the Simone NBA Show I put out until the start of the regular season. In fact, I think the next episode we do every Thursday here will be opening night of the regular season, or just after, so I'll have some reactions to that. But yeah, get amped up. I'm excited, but we're going to start with some less exciting news. Draymond Green has been all up in the news as of late. It was initially reported that he got into an altercation with Jordan Poole at a Warriors practice, and it was that. That was that. Bob Myers said, he probably won't be suspended, probably won't miss games. Stephen Curry and Steve Kerr seemed very disappointed in him, but then TMZ Sports got a hold of the video of the practice, and it was shown and seen by the public that Green essentially knocked Poole out cold. The two exchanged words. Draymond walked up to him, went chest to chest. Poole pushed him away, and Green just clocked him across the face, and he went to the ground. It's unclear whether or not he got knocked out. Stephen A. reported that he did, but take Stephen A.'s reporting with a grain of salt. He's entertaining, great guy, but you got to take some things with a grain of salt. So, since then, Draymond Green addressed the public a few days after the incident. He said he apologized to Jordan Poole, apologized to Poole's family, and the team. Said he was, dealing with stuff outside of practice, and he brought that mental toughness, but those issues to practice, and it resulted in the unfortunate event that did occur. And he also said he'd be stepping away from the team for a few days to recalibrate. As I mentioned, Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry seemed pretty disappointed at Draymond, both saying that Poole had been fine, and Chris Haynes reported that Jordan Poole had been acting differently in practice, but now we know that that wasn't exactly true because Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry blatantly denied those claims, saying that Poole has been great this far this year, which has led some to believe that, Rich Paul and Draymond Green leaked those rumors about Jordan Poole, so we don't know about that. But what we do know is that Draymond Green didn't get suspended. He did not get suspended at all. The team will fine him, but he will rejoin the team this Thursday, which, when you're listening to this today, Draymond Green is rejoining the Warriors, and got fined an undisclosed amount. Now, there was a report that said the Warriors' ring night played a serious factor into this. Woj reporting that since the Warriors will be getting their ring, Draymond, Clay, and Steph and Iguodala will be getting their fourth rings on opening night, that they didn't want to suspend Draymond for that. Woj also noted that if this was a regular season game or it wasn't ring night, he probably would have gotten suspended. But regardless of that, it does seem kind of crazy that the Warriors aren't suspending Draymond. Now, Steve Kerr says something along the lines of, Draymond has been with us for so long, he deserves this sort of somewhat leniency, something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing a lot, but it's tough to see Draymond not get suspended for something this heinous, right? You've seen all these great reports, these great articles about it from The Athletic and other outlets, Marcus Thompson, Anthony Slater, saying that Draymond Green has always been somewhat of a thorn in the Warriors' side from his involvement, or his issues, with KD, with Steve Kerr, from kicking Tristan Thompson picking a fight with Tristan Thompson and kicking LeBron James, the whole kicking things. But there's always been something with Draymond Green, and it finally seemed like they were over that hump. He just helped them make it all the way to the finals and win their fourth championship, was a leader. And then he does this. He punches a teammate in practice, and they're kind of back to square one. And he has to work to rebuild that trust. And Poole seems fine. I mean, he was getting shots up after that same practice where he got punched, based on the stuff we saw. But he's going to have to work to rebuild that trust. Someone said something along the lines of, Steph, are you ready to be a leader? Which is kind of unfair to ask of him, but it's what's going to be expected because he's Stephen Curry. He was already a leader, but he's going to have to be more of one now because it's going to be hard for the team or anybody to trust Draymond right now. He just, like I said, punched a teammate in practice and it went public and all that's a mess. And the Warriors were worried about the video getting out. Probably wasn't exactly where their mind needed to be at, but obviously it's not great when private footage gets leaked to the public regardless of the incident. And this obviously was 10 times worse than anything they would have wanted. So just a tough situation all around. Personally, I think Green probably should have been suspended. I love Draymond Green. I've been a huge fan of Draymond Green forever. I love the way he plays the game. I think he's tough, and I think it's widely underappreciated what he brings to the court. But obviously, the positives come with negatives with Green, and in this case, this is one of the very clear negatives. He's hot-headed. He's got a temper, and he's got very strong opinions. Whether or not he's talking on his podcast or he's on the court, stuff bleeds over, and he's an emotional player, and that's what makes him so amazing and a Hall of Famer, but it's also what leads to moments like this. And so you kind of have to take the good with the bad, but at the same time, if the bad is this bad, there's got to be consequences for it. I don't know how large the fine is, but suspending him seemed like it had to be the obvious choice, and they didn't make that choice, but I suppose we shall see what happens moving forward. Whether or not Green can rebuild that trust and everything's dandy in Golden State, especially with the contract situations coming up. Jordan Poole, Wiggins, and Green needing one, and then Clay in 2 years' time needing one too. Will they trade Poole? Will they trade Green? Will they keep Wiggins around? Who will they pay? Who won't they pay? Is this a last dance for this team? It's kind of looking like it because they can't pay everybody. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, especially after the situation, because it only makes it worse. And we'll see what Green can do during the season to rebuild that trust, because he's got a lot of work to do. Next up, I want to talk about Rob Pelinka, and more specifically, the future of Rob Pelinka with the Lakers, because it was reported that the Los Angeles Lakers have agreed to extend Rob Pelinka through the 2026 NBA season. Now, this extension came at the same time as the Darvin Ham hiring, but it wasn't reported on because there was a lot of other stuff going on, and reporting internal news didn't happen, but it's interesting. Lakers now have their vice president of basketball ops, or GM essentially, through 2026, the same timeline as Darvin Ham, who is under contract through 2026. And the big question coming out after the move is why? Why was Rob Pelinka extended after what has largely been a disastrous term of him being in charge? And the first thing people point to is, what are you talking about? He brought the Lakers a championship. Of course he's going to get extended. He had nothing to do with that championship. He had absolutely nothing to do with that championship. Like, I don't understand how Lakers fans can sit by and think that Pelinka was one of the reasons, even slightly, that the Lakers were able to win that championship. You look at it. LeBron came to LA because he wanted to be in Los Angeles. He wanted to be in the city of movies. He wanted to be, on the big stage. He wanted to play for the Lakers. He came there, and that was that. Magic Johnson. Let's see. When did Magic Johnson quit Lakers? Let's see. May 20th. April 9th, 2019. That is when Magic Johnson left the Lakers. Now, in case you're wondering, I'll look it up. We'll Google. When was the Anthony Davis trade? The Anthony Davis trade, let's see. June 15th, 2019. Yes. So, from April to June, Rob Pelinka and Rob Pelinka alone navigated a trade to land Anthony Davis. Right? Absolutely not. Anthony Davis went to the Lakers, got traded to the Lakers, because he made it clear that that was the only place he was ever going to go. He forced his way to the Lakers because he wanted to play with LeBron James. Rob Pelinka had absolutely nothing to do with Anthony Davis getting to Lakers. Now, you could say, oh, well, the deal he got was good. Was it good? He traded Brandon Ingram, a future All-Star, Lonzo Ball, one of the better 3-and-D point guards in the league, Josh Hart, an elite role player, and lots of picks. Lots and lots of picks. So many picks that they are, in a bind now to trade picks. And you can't knock Pelinka for doing that, to trade Anthony Davis for Anthony Davis, because you wanted to get them as soon as possible, and it ended up winning a championship. But to say that Rob Pelinka landed Anthony Davis is irresponsible. You can't say that. Anthony Davis forced his way to Lakers. Rob Pelinka was simply the one to facilitate that deal. And now the Pelicans control some pick future of Lakers, which is huge for them. So Pelinka had no hand in bringing Davis. The one major shining move of Pelinka's career with the Lakers is trading for Russell Westbrook, which is the most disastrous move the franchise has made in the past, decade, right? Like, long time. Long time. The only thing that failed more, or even slightly equivalent, is when the Dwight Howard and Steve Nash things failed and blew up in their face. Russell Westbrook experiment has been an utter failure so far. He didn't trade him this offseason. He is refusing to give up the 27 and 29 first-round picks, which could be great for the future, but you're wasting LeBron's prime. And in order to get Westbrook to the Lakers, he traded all of the pieces that helped the Lakers win the championship that he's getting credit for. Kyle Kuzma, great role player, found a home in Washington now. Easy bucket, 15 points, 10 rebounds now as he's emerged as a great rebounder. Something the Lakers could have used some help with. Traded him away. The guy he so desperately wanted to keep in an Anthony Davis trade, he traded for Russell Westbrook, and that fit didn't work out. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the perfect role player alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. A 3-and-D guy who's now in Denver and going to thrive. Great shooter, great defender, exactly what you want alongside those two stars that led him to a championship. And he played a big role in that championship. Gone. Traded in the Russell Westbrook deal. Montrezl Harrell, who didn't spend long in LA, but the time that he was there provided them with valuable minutes off the bench. Gone in the Russell Westbrook trade. Took on so much salary in the Russell Westbrook trade that you couldn't re-sign Alex Caruso, a great point guard who would have solved their issues at the guard position last year with Westbrook there. Solid shooter, great point of attack defender, exactly what you need. Gone because you traded for Russell Westbrook. And what do Lakers do? They extend Rob Pelinka. They say, you know what? You won us a championship, in quotation marks, I remind you. So we'll bring you back for not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 more seasons. They'll bring him back until 2026 when Darvin Ham's contract is up. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, sure, he's planning for the future. He's keeping those 27 and 29 first-round picks so they can build. But, and this is in my opinion, I suppose, by keeping Russell Westbrook, you are wasting a year of LeBron James's prime. And at his age, you can't be doing that. You just can't waste LeBron's prime, and it seems like that's what Pelinka is set on doing because he wants to save those picks, and this contract extension just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm very confused. I don't know why they decided to extend him because he kind of helped build the championship team. He was there to oversee it, but I don't know. And people are saying, well, you can't just... And another point I saw on Twitter, you can't just fire him. He won you a championship. They fired Frank Vogel immediately after the season, so soon after, that he found out on Twitter. So you can fire people who just won a championship with your team because they just did that. But Rob Pelinka got extended, right? So I don't even know what else to say on that. I think it's foolish, but hey, maybe I'll have pie on my face next year. I don't know. But right now, the extension of Rob Pelinka is baffling to me. Just baffling. Next up, LaMelo Ball. Ball reportedly sprained his left ankle as confirmed by an MRI, and his return timeline will depend on his response and his rehab moving forward. Now, I don't want to talk as much about LaMelo Ball individually as much as I want to talk about the Charlotte Hornets because, as weird as it sounds, this could have been for the best. The Charlotte Hornets are not in any position to compete in the East next season. You look at the teams in the East. You have the Bucks, you have the Celtics, the Nets, the Heat, the Sixers, the Raptors, the Hawks, the Cavs. The Bulls, even the Knicks and the Wizards should probably be slated above the Hornets. And you can make an argument that the Pistons are up there as well now. Excuse me. That leaves the Pacers, the Magic, and the Hornets. And the Hornets just lost their second best player. Miles Bridges is not with the team right now, and hopefully he never will be again. Now, I don't know what the future holds in that matter, but I don't think he should be allowed to play basketball in the NBA again, or anywhere for that matter. I think he should be in jail. But regardless, they don't have their second best player. Now LaMelo Ball is hurt. It's looking like their season is already tainted, and some Hornets fans are on Twitter saying that they should tank for Victor Wembanyama, and frankly, I agree. I think they need to be a bad team this year, a high lottery pick team, to try to get Wembanyama or Scoot. I mean, throw Scoot next to LaMelo Ball, and that'd be pretty good too. But Wembanyama would obviously be the prize. And yeah, you look at their team, and it just doesn't seem like they can compete. Now, they have assets that they can trade, and then they can flip for other, future draft picks or other people. Kelly Oubre is entering the last year of his deal, making around $12 million. You ask a contending team around the league to trade for him, you could probably get back a decent asset, a first-round pick, a couple seconds maybe, to take him on. That'd be a sweet deal. You look at PJ Washington, he's going to need a contract extension. Is it worth extending him at this point? I would say not. Maybe you trade him for a first-round pick to another younger team looking to add rather than sell. You get a first-round pick or something like that. You get an asset. I think that would be worth it. You could try to offload Gordon Hayward or Terry Rozier. Gordon Hayward obviously makes a ton of money, so it could be hard to get off his contract, but you find the right situation. Maybe you could throw in a first-round pick, get off his contract. Terry Rozier probably has a little bit more value. Could probably get a first back for Rozier if you find the right scenario for him, or get some young assets instead back, which could be good. And yeah, I think they need to do what the Warriors did a couple seasons ago. Obviously, LaMelo Ball could come back in a couple months, and they could try to fight for the play-in, which they've been brutally eliminated for the past 2 years. But I think they need a 1-year reset, just like what the Grizzlies did when they traded Mike Conley, just like the Warriors did when Stephen Curry got hurt. Tank for a year, get a high draft pick, move on after that. I think if the Hornets embrace the tank this year, they could get in the mix for Victor Wembanyama, and Scoot Henderson, pair them with LaMelo Ball for the future, and that's how they have to move forward. Because right now it doesn't look like there's a better option at hand because they can't compete right now. They just cannot. And it'll be a great opportunity to give some of these young guys minutes. Mark Williams desperately needs minutes as a rookie. James Bouknight needs more minutes to see what he can do. Sorry, I had to cough. JT Thor needs minutes. Kai Jones, Nick Richards, they all need minutes to show what they can do. Bryce McGowan's another rookie. Give them all minutes, not only to see if you have something in any of them, but so if you don't, you can move on and not just string along the end of the bench filled with rookies who aren't going to pan out into anything. So, for all those reasons, I think the Hornets need to tank this year. Obviously, it sucks. It sucks to lose LaMelo Ball for this long, but I think it could be a blessing in disguise because they're closer to the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes than they are to the playoffs right now. And so you might as well just go all in and try to get Victor because it's probably not going to be a fun year in Charlotte. And lastly, I wanted to talk about a few comeback players to watch. We'll start with the obvious. Ben Simmons is going to be back in action after missing a whole year. Him and the Nets are, in my opinion, a match made in heaven. You look at his time in Philly, it was never going to work in hindsight. Joel Embiid's one of the best players in the NBA. Better player than Simmons, yes, but it wasn't going to work because Ben Simmons needs to be able to get into the paint and work, and Joel Embiid needs to be in the paint and work. They didn't have enough good shooting around them either. The Josh Richardson team wasn't great. The Robert Covington was probably the closest with J.J. Redick, but that didn't work. Jimmy Butler was there too, which was solid, but that didn't work. Tobias Harris is fine, but he's not a great three-point shooter, so you kind of need that third star. And in Brooklyn, he's surrounded by two of the best three-point shooters of all time. Sorry, I just hit my mic. Ignore that sound. KD and Kyrie Irving are two of the best shooters and shot creators ever. Now have Ben Simmons, who is a great passer and one of the best, most versatile defenders in the NBA. Has guys like Seth Curry, Joe Harris around him too, Patty Mills, just elite shooters everywhere. The Simmons at the center lineup is going to be lethal. I'm very excited to watch Ben Simmons play. I think he could make an all-defensive team. I think he could get back to the all-star team if he plays well enough and the Nets are good enough. I'm expecting big things from Ben, and I'm very, very excited to watch him. Next up, there's Kawhi Leonard. The Clips are going to be back. Projected to be one of the best teams in the West. They've got a solid squad. They've got, like I mentioned with the Sixers, they've got Covington, Norm Powell, Luke Kennard, Marcus Morris, Vicha Zubac. Just one of the deepest teams in the league, all behind Kawhi and Paul George. If those two can stay healthy, they'll be one of the best, but obviously you have to be wary. Kawhi Leonard is not going to play 82 games. He'll be lucky to play 60 games. That's just the reality of the situation. Paul George, maybe you can bank on a 60 to 70 game season. But Kawhi's not going to play more than 60 games. He's going to rest up, be good for the playoffs, and then he's going to do what he does in the playoffs if he's healthy for that. That's the big if. That's the big if with Kawhi. Is he going to be healthy for the playoffs? Is he going to miss too much time in the regular season where it affects the Clips? I don't know. Can the Clippers be a 50-win team if Kawhi only plays 40 to 50 games? Probably. I think so. I think they'll be good regardless because they've got a good team and one of the best coaches in the league. But Kawhi's comeback might not be all it's cracked up to be. How many games does he miss? That's what you got to expect. I'm hyped to watch him play, just like I said about Simmons, but you got to watch out for it. He's probably going to miss a lot of games. Zion Williamson. He's going to be electric. I mean, the New Orleans Pelicans last year, after their rough start, were amazing. Traded for CJ McCollum. He fit in like a glove. They're probably going to run a lineup of CJ, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, Zion, and Valanciunas, which is just going to be so sick. Zion was dominant, in the one full season he played. He made the All-Star team. If he's at his peak, he's an All-Star. He's an All-NBA player. He's an MVP candidate. Will he be at his peak? That's the question. Brandon Ingram should be an All-Star next year. I think that should be the goal. CJ McCollum should, go for it, strive for it, but he probably won't be. Herb Jones is only going to continue to improve. Valanciunas is a great fit. They have Jose Alvarado and Trey Murphy still. Dyson Daniels, who they just drafted. They've got a really, really, really solid squad in New Orleans. And Zion's coming back. They're a playoff team without Zion. They're fighting for the for the 6th seed. They're fighting to get out of the play-in without Zion, but with Zion, in a stacked West, they're probably still a playing team, but they have the potential and the talent to be a top seed in the West. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4. They're that good. That's how good Zion is. That's how good this team has the potential to be. I'm excited to watch him play. Zion's amazing. But he is not who I'm most excited for. That title goes to Mr. Jamal Murray. MPJ is there too. He's going to be huge. He's going to be a big comeback player for the Nuggets. But Jamal Murray is the key to Denver's success next year. Jokic has won back-to-back MVPs because of how much he's carried the team without Jamal Murray. We are 2 years removed from Jamal Murray dropping 50 points, 50 points, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50 in the bubble. He is an all-star point guard. You're taking Nikola Jokic, going from playing with Monte Morris and Will Barton and Jeff Green and JaMychal Green to playing with an all-star point guard and Michael Porter Jr., who I am excited for too, but this is Jamal Murray time. Jamal Murray could average 25 points and 6 assists next year. He's going to take the load off of Jokic, and that's why I think you heard me 2 weeks ago say the Nuggets are my prediction to be the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're going to be an elite regular season team if Murray stays healthy. Whether or not it translates to the playoffs, we'll have to see. But if Murray is at his peak, the Denver Nuggets are absolutely NBA title contenders. I love Jamal Murray. I love his fit on this team. His shot creation is amazing. His shooting is amazing. His playmaking is great. His fit next to Jokic is chef's kiss. I am so excited to watch Jamal Murray play basketball. This is going to be a very fun season for the Nuggets and MPJ too. I'll throw him in again. But Jamal Murray, very, very excited. And that'll be it for another episode of the Simone NBA Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said at the top of the episode, I've been your host, Jack Simone NBA. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack Simone NBA. I'm Jack Simone. You can follow me at Jack Simone NBA. My name is not NBA in it. It's just Jack Simone. Anyways, you can follow Heavy at Heavy on Sports. You can see all their socials on the side of the screen next to me on YouTube, which you should be subscribed to. Go check out Heavy on YouTube. You can check out last week's interview, the Muggsy Bogues interview, where I interviewed Muggsy Bogues. That was awesome. He was a cool guy. He told me some fun stories about Michael Jordan, Manute Bol, and growing up watching Stephen Curry grow up. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it every week. Thank you for the continued support, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.